Thank you all for joining us. We are here at the Convergent IS offices, and we have a couple of team members that have joined us as well. And hopefully you will find this Intro to Figma Slides workshop entertaining. My name is Valeria, for those of you who don't know me. I run the Friends of Figma community in Calgary, and I'm happy to present today our amazing instructor, Ali. Ali, welcome to our community, and thank you so much for facilitating this workshop. And I will leave you to Ali so she can present herself and give us a couple of pointers of what are you going to expect with this workshop today.
Yay. So awkward. Yay. Okay, sweet. Hi, everyone. First of all, welcome to today's workshop. Super excited to talk about Figma Slides, brand new Figma product. Um, it's going to be quite an interesting experience because Figma has definitely thought about different ways to conduct presentations. And so it's going to be an experience that feels like Figma, but also feels very familiar at the same time. Here in Zoom, we are recording today's session, so you could watch at any time. But today's session will involve a lot of, let's just call it gymnastics, because you'll be bouncing between Figma slides, like my presentation, and then later on at the end of the night, we are going to do a quick like hands-on workshop where I'm going to invite you to actually edit some slides with me. So a quick preface on this is that we're not going to go deep into Figma slides. I'm really just here to show you what makes it unique from all of the other like presentation software that you might be using already. And so things like using design mode and all of that, that is something that definitely I invite you to try out in your own time. But for today, we'll focus on like the cooler features that they have, like their AI features, their interactive features, and also for you to experience what it's like to be an audience member in Figma Slides. So with that being said, I will share a link. It's called an audience link in the chat. And I actually invite all of you to hop into this link and actually look at the presentation from your desktop or from your browser. So don't look at Zoom, actually follow me on Figma. So I see that I have about 24 people here. I think in Zoom we have about 39 people. So maybe we'll wait until we hit like 30. So off the bat, this is what makes Figma Slides really interesting. I don't know if they'll ever change their name, like what they've been saying in config, because Figma Slides is a lot to say every single time. But what's going to happen now is I'm going to spotlight myself and I will actually be controlling the slides for you. And what the great thing about this is that one, you're following me, but also you have the liberty to like go through the rest of the slides. But by viewing it into the link that I've sent, you can actually interact with me there. So this is going to be quite meta because sometimes again, I'm going to be talking in like, because I'm talking in the mode of my presentation, like I'm actually presenting to you, but I'm also going to step out and say, actually, let's see how this works in Figma Slides. How do we do this, etc. So today I'm using a very relatable topic, portfolio decks, because I think a lot of designers should have a portfolio deck. So today we're going to use that topic or that theme to create our Figma slides while also learning Figma slides. Okay, I've said Figma slides enough. Clearly, you know where we are. And let's get started. So first of all, my name is Ali. I actually just moved to Calgary, so I'm really excited to be part of the UX community here, and I hope to meet more of you later on. Currently, I design at Shopify, but I also teach UX and UI at an online bootcamp called Memorisely. So keeping up with Figma is important in my job, and I'm sure all of you are big fans of the product as well. So today, like I said, we're going to cover portfolios, just quickly go over like what I think is best in a portfolio deck. I find that not a lot of people, especially as I taught more students, they don't realize the value of actually having a portfolio deck, not just a portfolio. So I'm just going to quickly talk about what should be in that deck. And then the second part of today is we're going to go through Figma slides and getting used to the UI and all the other features. So Today we're gonna do our first poll. Someone has already filled it out. I see another person has. Can everyone go into that slide and actually vote? What is the current state of your portfolio deck? Is it A, I don't have a portfolio deck? B, I've started to build one. C, I have one, but I want to improve it. Or the last one is I have one and it's absolutely perfect. Okay, we have 15 votes. I'm gonna wait until we hit like 25. Any more votes? No one wants to talk about their portfolio. I'm gonna wait for two more people to come in and vote. So we hit 20 people have voted. Okay. So I can see now that a lot of people don't have a portfolio deck. Now, I don't know why that is. If we were here in person, I would have actually loved to understand why. But from my perspective and just from my experience, um, I've been in a lot of job interviews as the recruiter or as the interviewer, where a lot of people or applicants will actually just share their website because that's what they have. And I find that you actually lose attention, right? So as UX designers, we really have to think about the experience of getting told a story and just watching someone share their portfolio, like scrolling on their website, you can actually lose a lot of attention. On the flip side, by preparing a portfolio deck, you are actually able to take care of the narrative. You can take care of the pacing of the session. And you can also use your own storytelling and also UI design skills because you've created a deck that really tailors to your brand and also helps you tell your story yourself. And the beauty is that a lot of us might be using Figma to design our mockups, but with Figma Slides, you can actually now just like import all those mockups. You can even edit the mockups in the slides itself. You can embed portfolio links and all of that. And so it's a much smoother process. And I hope that this fee or this product will at least make it easier for you. Now, if you're not convinced that you should have a portfolio deck, that's okay. That's not irrelevant to the rest of the workshop. It's just that I highly recommend it, especially if you're job hunting, to have a portfolio deck that accompanies you when you go in your job interviews, just so that you're extra prepared and that you know what you're going to be talking about. All right, so let's move on. So now this is going to be the part where it's a bit meta because I'm actually going to leave this presentation and I need all of you to go back to Zoom so that you can see Figma Slides like the way I see it on its UI. So I'm going to zoom out or exit my presentation here. So you should see that I am now in Figma Slides. So you'll see the sidebar on the left side. You will see all the editing features here on the right side. And I'm just going to go here. So let's imagine that you are actually now designing your portfolio deck. So this is just a presentation template that I made. I'll actually share a link at the end of today's workshop if you're interested in using it. If you even want to collaborate with me and like fix it together, highly welcome that. Um, we're going to pretend that you are all making my portfolio with me. So this is obviously all catered about me, but I'm going to use it to showcase some of the features that we have today in Figma Slides. So here is just our title. I always recommend everyone to have a tell me about yourself slide. One, because most interviews will start with this question, and if you already have a slide about it, it's so easy to just say it instead of like rambling and suddenly telling your childhood stories somehow and hoping that it'll come back to design. But by having a tell me about yourself page, you're already prepared. This next slide is actually what I call a snapshot slide. I always tell people that when you have a slide deck and you're doing your portfolio presentation, it's actually a great opportunity to show all the work you've done. So maybe like in my presentation, I won't talk about Let's say like some of my Shopify work, I won't have it here. But I highly recommend it to everyone, like kind of use this as a like a snapshot of everything you've worked on as a designer. There's a lot of like bento box grids now that are coming out. And even though you're not going to talk about every single portfolio piece or like piece of design you've worked on, you can at least show it here and say, like, look at the breadth and depth that I've worked on as a designer. And then today we'll deep dive on one of these pieces. So I find that not a lot of people do this step, but it's actually a great step to really showcase who you are as a designer. All right, so now we're going to talk about the actual case study pieces that you need. So I typically recommend that you should at least have one really good one that really showcases like your full end to end, if that's what you're supposed to, or if that's what you want to showcase. And then maybe like one more bonus piece that really articulates another skill. So in our case today, I'm only going to focus on this insurance app that I worked on. And you'll see that it's incomplete. There's a lot of pieces here that are missing. And that's because I want to work on it with you, with everyone on this call. So I can really show you what we could do here. So first of all, when we talk about our case study piece, we always want to show what was the problem that we were working on in the beginning. So here, I want to talk about the challenge. And mind you, these little green ones, they're not actually supposed to be shown in your portfolio deck. I just had it so that I could teach you along the way. But in this case, I'm actually missing some pictures. And maybe I'll just use AI here to actually put like a relevant photo. I have not tested this. We'll actually test this together and see how AI will help us out. So the problem today with the insurance app is that customers can view their insurance on the app, but they cannot manage it directly. So we found that in this project, a lot of customers will just see like, I have this coverage, but they have to go like to the desktop app or they have to call the insurance company to actually like make a claim, to update any information, anything like that. So maybe for now, I'll just put in like a photo of someone holding a phone. Maybe person sitting at home holding their iPhone. Let's see. Figma AI is really thinking here. That's not bad. I can take that. Um, but actually, now that I think about it, I think it might be better here. So I'm actually gonna apply that photo in here, and maybe we'll come up with a different photo for here. Let's see. A person looking at insurance statements. We'll say paper statements at their kitchen table. That sounds realistic. Okay. Maybe to match this photo here, we'll use this fella. So we'll do that. And of course, we could also make changes if we wanted to. We could just change the prompt. So that's one of the really helpful features here in Figma Slides. Sometimes you just want to add photos that really help with your storytelling. Another one that helps a lot. So this one, in this case, I actually have it unfinished. So once you've explained like the problem and the challenge that you were hoping to solve with your design, if you have any user research, it'll be great to pop it in here. I don't have any examples here for now, but I would imagine like if you have any quotes from your user interviews, any survey data, any like charts that you could pop into here, that's what you would populate here on the right side. Here, I've actually started to type in how we collected that feedback. So in this particular project, I had to speak to our customer support team because they dealt with a lot of customers already. So here, if I wanted to, I can actually customize the tone of the text. So if I wanted to sound more professional, it'll update that text. So we gathered feedback from the customer support team to gain insights into the existing UX environment, dot, 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 dot. If I wanted to change the tone and make it more casual, got feedback from the support team to see how users are feeling. So this is another way where if you're concerned about the tone, you're not really sure if you're writing it properly, you can utilize this tone matrix UI here to change it. And of course, like there's other presets that you can try, but these are just like some small ways that Figma Slides tries to make it easier for you to write your stuff. And of course, if I don't like any of it, I could always reset it and return back. So this is now an example where I actually wanted to showcase some of the designs I already had. So these are actual mockups that I had. And the beautiful thing about designing in here is that I don't have to take screenshots or export PNGs anymore. I can actually make edits here. I don't know about you, but there have been many times where there would be like a typo in my Figma file, and then I pop it into my portfolio and I miss it, and then I would have to re-export all the photos. But in this case, I can actually edit it in Figma Slides. So although I pasted this from a Figma design file, I can go ahead and change Nick to Nicholas if I wanted to. Um, I will say sometimes it is finicky depending on how you've built your file. Sometimes your components might break, might not respond properly, but I think the simpler the file is, the easier it would be to actually edit these pieces. And these also will act as actual like components. So if you're pulling from a library, it would be preserved as well. So really the idea here is that you don't have to always build all of your slides in the Figma design file. You could actually do it straight and edit into Figma Slides so that you can have an easier time. So back to our portfolio hats. So at this case, I've talked about any user research. I'm showcasing any design explorations that I might have already. I'm even doing a deep dive of any features that I've had. So in this particular project, I really wanted to showcase these 3 screens. And then in this last one here, I want to showcase the final solution. My suggestion is instead of just showing static screens for the final solution, it's actually great to have the prototype ready. So in the old days, we would always have like the portfolio or the prototype link ready, and we would have to flip back and forth. But in this case, I can actually just copy the link to the prototype, head back to my Figma slides, and I can load the prototype right in it. So as you can see here at the bottom, it says loading prototype. And so my prototype is actually ready to go. As you can see, my hotspots are going. And I can use the prototype here. I don't have to switch slides. Everyone is on the same page and it's all here. I can even remove the frame if I wanted to, or change like the particular flow that I wanted to showcase. So once you've shown your portfolio, your prototype, of course, you would usually walk through the entire flow, maybe point out the solution, the specific parts of the solution. I like to do a before and after as well to really show your impact and how you've changed the initial design to the following one. So here on the left side, I was just showing like originally we were thinking of doing this, but then afterwards we actually changed the home screen and decided that we needed a home screen, something like that. Once you showcase all of your solution, I like to do a final outcome screen. So it could be as simple as this. If you have data, even better. In this case, I'm just showing what we learned from our user testing and highlighting what are the pieces that really stood out to our users and what are the pieces that we want to move forward with in the final solution. So I do this formula as much as it seems short. Mind you, when you present in job interviews, as we all know, fatigue can happen and attention spans can only be held for so long. So I try to focus my presentation to be like 20 to 30 minutes max, and at least give time for the interviewer to ask questions as well. If there's time and if they really want to see a second piece, of course, I show that too. But I find that a lot of interviewers will love to hear more about your process and hear you discuss some of the things that you shared rather than you constantly presenting. So I like to keep this quite high level, and you really show your own storytelling skills by presenting it itself. So I've talked a lot. I'm going to pause here and actually check in. Do we have any questions? You could type it into the chat before we switch gears and actually get into the workshop piece. Any questions about portfolios? You can just type it in the chat. Is this your template or Figma's? This is my template. I've actually just published this template into the community. So you'll also have that link at the end of this workshop. It's actually really easy to publish templates, by the way. So if any of you are really keen on presentations and want to practice Figma slides, it's a great way to do so and also contribute to the community. How do you access slides in Figma? As in the product or
How to start.
how to start? Oh yeah, Michelle. All right, to start, I will actually just go to my drafts. No, never mind. The new drafts is broken. So all you have to do is head over to your team's drafts, and it should be an option there already, slide deck. Speaking of, there are some organizations, if you are using this in your organization or your company has the ability to either allow you to do this or not. So if it doesn't show up on your company's Figma, it just might mean that the admin of Figma for your company did not enable this for your organization. But by default, all accounts should have this slide deck beta version. Another thing I want to share is we touched on the topic of templates. A lot of us are probably designers in here, and we're so excited to actually like go ahead and edit slides. The way you do that is you actually enter design mode. So here at the bottom right, you'll see that I have a toggle that'll switch over. And now I'm suddenly in design mode where I see layers. So on the left side here at the bottom, you'll see like all my layers. Thank God I named them so that you will not all judge me. But they're labeled. On the right side, you'll start to see really familiar things like layout grids, colors, and all of that. I will not go deep into that today because I find that if you know how to use Figma, you usually have a comfortable time picking this up. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but it is quite familiar. The reason why I want to share this is because this design mode is actually limited by your plan type. So if you have a free plan, you cannot enter design mode currently. As of today, October 15th, 2024, it is blocked. But if you are part of a team that is paid, like a pro plan, you can see here that I can toggle back and forth, and I can actually design custom templates for my team. So if I was working in your company and we're part of that team and we wanted to have our own branded Figma Slides template, I can actually design it here and publish it, much like how we publish libraries in Figma Design. So I will say that warning now, if you're confused and you're saying like, Ali, I can't enter design mode, it's probably because of your plan type. So you want to check that first. Okay, our last question here is from Seth, or also Paulina. I have a couple questions here before we dive into our workshop or our hands-on activity. So Seth asks, what gets included in the snapshot slide, our best designs? I actually love to show, because it's right after my tell me about me slide, I love to use this as a moment to show how I've evolved as a designer. So I might say like my very best design from like when I first started all the way to where I am now. So it's up to you if you want to use it more of like a how you advanced or evolved. You can also use it as a moment to talk about like I worked at this company, then moved on to this company, etc. It literally becomes a visual snapshot of your career as a designer. Just up to you what your theme is. Okay. Polina asks, how do I make sure that my design frame fits into the slide, especially for large size frames? Do I rescale my frame? What happens to font sizes? I found that I can usually just paste it in, and it would be smart enough to rescale it for yourself, for myself at least. Like for example, these phones, it just scaled to the photo itself. I don't think it's a one-to-one with my actual type scale in my design system, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I just found that it was very easy to just go ahead and paste it in. I have a final question here that came in privately. Is it important to have a personal website for your presentation for presenting my portfolio? I'm going to do a hot take here. Get ready. I used to have a personal website. I haven't updated that thing in like, I think 3 years. It's extremely outdated. And that's just because a lot of things I can't post due to NDA. And what I've been applying with instead is I've actually been using Figma. I would just send a Figma link, password protected. It's also faster for me. I've used it for my previous job and it worked. So I think it's important to have a portfolio. The medium that it's in, I will leave that up to you. I understand that websites can get expensive, hosting can get expensive. Um, but you'd be surprised how far you can get with just a Figma link, as long as you've obviously done all the protecting it with the password, all that stuff. You'd be surprised how that's actually okay. So I'll leave that there. I'll leave it up to you, what kind of portfolio you want to have. But all I'm saying is if it's really hard for you to make a website, having a Figma file is actually not that bad. Or in this case, even a separate Figma Slides deck that's just about your work. Okay, Nathaniel has one more question. I swear this is it.
Hi, sorry. Just wanted to ask, I noticed in your snapshot slide, you have two mobile prototypes, and I'm assuming the Shopify login UI mockup is kind of on like a tablet or laptop
Mhm.
view. Um, I'm assuming is this like the best way to go around like showing like multiple designs for like mobiles and laptops and tablets and such?
Good question. I just chose these because I literally had 3 pieces that I could share today, or at least take a snapshot of. But I would give you like you can have the freedom really to do how you want to lay this out. I've seen some people do like a bento grid where it was more complicated. Maybe they just focus in a particular component to suggest like, they've done component work or they work on design systems, and then maybe they have a larger snapshot here of a particular flow. So it really depends. The idea is that you're just really presenting it. So even if you don't want to do this type of look and you just want to make it a collage, you could do that as well. Okay, sweet. So now, everyone, we are actually going to head over to our hands-on piece. I'm going to share this file. We were testing it earlier, and it did work for one person. So I hope it works for all of you. So head over to the Zoom chat, and I've just popped in a link for an actual Figma Slides file. I've talked a lot in the past 30 minutes, and I want you to actually take this out for a spin. A lot of you are only can view, I think. So I'm going to try to edit all of you one at a time and let you edit. And if you can't, that's okay. Um, Maybe we'll just have a couple people try it out, and you can also try out Figma Slides some other time. But my goal here for today is that I actually want to get to know all of you because, like I said, I just joined the Calgary UX community. And I want everyone, let me just finish giving edit access here. So you saw that I had a tell me about yourself um, slide. I put it in there as an example. Okay, one more, and then I'll come back. I put it in here as an example of like how I did it. I kind of want you to copy this layout if you can. Everyone can duplicate slide 3. You can do that by right-clicking on the slide itself and hitting Command D. So don't use the actual slide in the middle. Use the slide 3 on the left-hand sidebar. So I see people here have duplicated it. It might be a bit messy now, but people could fix, a lot of you are designers, so you can go ahead and edit the layout. But we're going to spend about maybe 15 minutes in your own slide. I want you to make a tell me about yourself page. Feel free to write this by yourself. Feel free to use Figma AI to help you with your tone. But what I want you to do is mimic like what I have here. I want you to have text that tells you your story and also try to add in some images, whether you want to download it from your desktop or whether you just want to use the Figma AI feature. These are literally just circles, by the way. So at the bottom here, that's where I have all my editing tools. And I literally just grabbed a circle, drew that circle. So this circle here, and I just imported, like I chose a media to put in there. So I'm going to start some background music to start our 15 minutes. So everyone can just go ahead, type whatever you want, tell me about yourself, and we will meet back in 15 minutes and maybe we'll even get some presentations going. I have officially 3. Okay. All right, sweet. I will turn off the music. I'll keep sharing my file, so we will just literally present in the file. But I invite you to my 3 volunteers, slide 3, 4, and 5. If you can unmute. So the first one is Dan. Dan, are you here?
Hi, you hear me?
Yep.
So this is my quick take on a slide. I'm new to UX, but not to design. So I have a architecture master's from 17 years ago, but I've been in the cannabis industry most recently and couldn't wait to get out and try something new. And in my spare time, I am a parent of a 2-year-old and a volunteer firefighter.
Whoa. I don't know. I thought that was cool. Usually I would put a poll here and be like, what do you think of being a volunteer firefighter? Then hopefully everyone puts like fire emojis, all that stuff. But anyway. All right. Thanks, Dan. Next, we have Reina. Is Reina here? Reina, are you here? Oh, I am here, but my mic isn't working. Oops. Okay, do you want me to read for you? Just type yes. Sorry, do you want me to read for you? But sure. Okay. Okay, this is Reina, an information design student. I'm at Mount Royal University, aspiring to become a UX designer. Please feel free to connect with her, with Reina on LinkedIn. The link is right there. Yeah, everyone should connect so that you will understand who Reina is and that you're not imagining my voice. Not a firefighter, sadly. Okay, that's okay. We Not all battles have to be fires. All right, next one. Eric.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm Eric Christensen. So I'm a Vancouver Island native, specifically the Comox Valley. My family's still there, though I'm in Calgary now. So I'm actually a faculty member at Mount Royal University. So I'm a librarian there. So mostly work in the classroom, but also the librarian that leads open education, as well as our 360-degree projection room, the Immersion Studio. I'm a former instructional designer and education technologist and aspiring UX UI, meaning that I've been doing UX UI informally for a long time. But in addition to my Master's of Information Science, which is related to UI, I also went to BCIT for UX UI.
Ooh, sweet. Thanks, Eric. I think I have one more here. Let's do a bonus one. Slide number 6. I just saw that you popped in a photo, so I thought maybe you want to introduce yourself. Is it Asal?
Hello, everyone. I'm Asal. Do you have my voice?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm originally from Iran, and I'm excited to be here today and share a bit about my journey. I recently moved to Canada, and I'm currently living in Calgary. That my background is industrial design. I came from industrial design to UX world. I work as a UX user experience designer and researcher for about 5 years in my country. And during that time, I was fortunate enough to work on a wide range of project that where I could apply my passion for understanding user behaviors. And now in Canada, I'm exploring Calgary and building my networking. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. Thank you,
Can you
Asal.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Reina. I'm so sorry about that. That was very silly of me. Anyways, I just thought I'd quickly say, yep, everything you said. My name is Reina. I'm an information design student. I'd love to connect with you all, and I love design. Sorry about that.
Woohoo. All good. Sweet. All right. So this essentially marks the end of our workshop today. I'm just going to switch over now to my initial set of slides. You may or may not have the link. That's okay. I will just keep sharing here on Zoom. So we'll just go towards the end here. So today we talked about like what would be great to see in a portfolio, like all my suggestions, of course, and we gave Figma Slides a try. Of course, there's lots more that you could do. If you really want to like take this to the next level, I actually recommend that you create your own set of slides, like your own custom template. I think it'll really test your knowledge of the Figma ecosystem and really push you to design your own slides. There are some things that I haven't even covered, like animation, I wasn't able to cover today. You could use auto layout in the design mode and all that stuff. So today I really went high level on some quick things that you can use if you were just to use a template that was designed for you. But if you really want to take it to the next level, especially for your portfolio where you want to establish your own brand, I highly suggest you make your own custom template. But with that being said, here are some final resources to check out. So here on the left side, this is a really old, actually, maybe Femke released this, maybe I've been using it for like 3 years now. If you have any other questions about portfolios, she already did the work and actually like presented her own portfolio on YouTube. So she'll walk through like how she thought about it. So a lot of the things that I said is actually quite similar to what she has, and she has even more details on it. So if you really want to go deeper into what goes into a portfolio deck, go ahead and watch this video. The links are in this Figma slide deck. Here on the right-hand side, this is the template that I used for this talk. I've published it to the community. I will probably keep updating it as I go because there's so many features still to try out. So if you want to just have a quick one, you can use this, but of course you can use the templates that already come native to Figma Slides. And this last one is my favorite. It might be a bit outdated now because Figma made some changes again to their UI if you haven't heard. But at Config recently in June, they actually did a deep dive. This is like an hour long where they both explain Figma Slides and showcase all the features, similar to what I did in this talk. But of course, the nice thing is this is actually coming from the Figma team itself, and they will share all the features that are coming with Figma Slides. So if you just want to learn more about it, check out that config talk. And of course, all of their other videos are great as well to learn about it. So with that being said, that is everything from me. Thank you for listening. Hopefully a lot of us can go ahead and collaborate together in the future. If you ever want to connect on LinkedIn, my name is Ali Angco on LinkedIn, so you can just find me there. Let me just check if there are any other questions. Sweet, just a bunch of thank yous and all that. So thank you as well, everyone, for listening. It's great to meet you, and I hope to see all of you at a future event.